It's been a spectacular day for Indian cricket, with the Indian team pulling off a fantastic win in the very last mile against England. But it's also a day to ask a tough question about cricket. It's a day to ask this question of the BCCI, but also a day to ask whether it's time for the Supreme Court or the centre to intervene. Why is India about to play cricket with Pakistan? We are in the midst of what the government has called a pause in Operation Sindoor. We have just seen an anti-terror operation take out 3 terrorists linked to the Pahalgam terror attacks. One of the Pahalgam victims that I interviewed said if this match takes place, it would be like playing with our emotions. So why is this match happening? Are the organizers, are the cricket managers of India totally blind to the larger national sentiment? Today, a new poll by Sea Voter will tell you what this national sentiment is saying about the prospects of an India-Pakistan match. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, we ask why India is set to face off against Pakistan in the imminent Asia Cup. In fact, not only is India going to play Pakistan, but an announcement about this match described it to be a blockbuster match that is going to take place as part of the Asia Cup. Many Indians who otherwise would never have proposed such an option are even talking about the possibility of forfeiting this match. A new survey, a snap poll by Sea Voter, has some very, very interesting insights into the public mood, not just among voters of the BJP, but also voters of the opposition. In fact, there seems to be near political unanimity across political and electoral affiliations on one thing: that this match should not happen. Rajiv Shukla and Jay Shah are two people affiliated to, different political camps, as it were. But to both of them, we say today, why is this match happening? Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we try and make sense of what the cricket managers are thinking. Joining me now is Sandeep Ghosh, political analyst and commentator, often described on this program as a fan of the Prime Minister, but sometimes with caveats. Does he want the government to step in? Can the government step in and tell the BCCI what to do? I'm sure it can. We have precedents in the past where governments have, for example, intervened on IPL matches. We're also joined by Yashwant Deshmukh. Yashwant Deshmukh Sea Voter Survey has some very, very interesting insights, and I'll be sharing those in a moment from now. And also joining us is Tehseen Poonawala, a supporter of the Congress party, but somebody who has been a passionate advocate of Operation Sindoor and somebody who's threatening to go on dharna, very unlike Tehseen, generally a jolly fellow, if this match proceeds. So thank you very much, all of you. Let's actually get straight to Yashwant's Sea Voter Survey, because I think it has some very, very interesting sort of findings. Of course, the bottom line is this, that the majority of Indians, whether you're an NDA voter, an opposition voter, or identify in some other way, are opposed to this match taking place. What's more interesting is that more people, and I'll ask Yashwant to go through the rest of the data, more people who vote for NDA are opposed to this match than those who vote for the opposition. So it's 60% of NDA voters compared to 44% of opposition voters are saying no to an India-Pakistan match. I'll bring some other details up in just a moment, Yashwant, but I'll request you to go through the key findings.
Yes, Barkha. I mean, and this is pretty much in line after the tracker that we ran during the Operation Sindoor. You remember when there was ceasefire was announced, and the solid number was very disappointed the way the ceasefire was done, and majority of those disappointed people actually came from the NDA camp. Not really. I mean, it's very rare to see that. Number of people who are disappointed with Modi government are coming from NDA camp. I think the same emotion and same sentiment is continuing over here. I mean, clearly a big number of Indians, they say it is absolutely inappropriate to play with Pakistan at this point of time. And even bigger number of that is coming from the NDA. I mean, almost like those who disapprove, it's like 2/3, 1/3 kind of appropriation in that way. I mean, if there are 100 people in India who are disapproving of these matches, 2/3 of them are actually from NDA and 1/3 from opposition. It's that kind of a skew. So obviously something is not right. Something is not going down with the people. in this entire thing.
So it's very interesting that you compare it to the kind of mood that was there in the BJP base after the halt in hostilities. The ceasefire was declared in Operation Sindoor, and you're saying that a much higher proportion of NDA voters, BJP voters, are angry right now about the prospects of this match. And let me bring up some other key points. They're really, really interesting. No Indian would ever typically want India to forfeit a game, but one way around the fact that this is not a bilateral sort of cup, it's a multilateral cup, is that people are saying forfeit the game. It's okay. Make up for it in some other way. 52.4% according to C voter of NDA voters and 43% of opposition voters say forfeit the Pakistan game. Yashwant, talk about this finding.
Yeah, I mean, it's a passionate country about cricket. Nobody likes to lose one. I mean, and especially against the Pakistan. But even if it at the cost of forfeiting, even if losing the points, even if at the cost of not reaching to the semi-final or the final of the Asia Cup or any other tournament for that matter, people are clear, Barkha. People are clear that no matter what, this is coming at what kind of cost. You have to make if it is an absolute majburi kind of thing, you have to go there. It's a multi-country tournament and it will be illegal of sort and you will be thrown out of the cricket bodies everywhere. It's not happening. We know that. I mean, world cricket right now is, for all practical matters, is dictated by India. It's been quite number of years. And I'm sorry to say, if you are not dictating, you have no right to be there. I mean, if by financing the entire world's money for the cricket right now under the sun, you should be dictating, and should be your stand. This is not we are going to play. And if by law of the tournament, it is important to forfeit, let's forfeit. What's wrong in that? What's problem in that? I mean, you can even skip full one tournament for heck that. I mean, in that way. So people are very clear. It's not just about one question, one knee-jerk reaction. They are mentally prepared that it's okay if India needs to forfeit a game, let it be.
So let me quickly go through 2 or 3 of the other key findings, and then I'll come to you, Tehseen and Sandeep. Is this an insult if this match happens to our armed forces? Another really staggering figure, if I can just try and take it on the banner, please. Right, 66.4% of NDA voters and 55.7% of opposition voters say it's an insult to armed forces. This is the most sort of overwhelming response in the C voter survey, the largest single block of a response that if this match happens, it's an insult to our armed forces, right? Then what should the center be doing? C voter points out that technically the BCCI doesn't come under the Ministry of Sports, but 61%, Yashwant, of NDA voters and 55.7% of opposition voters want the center to what you call indirectly. That's your question. Should the center be indirectly pressurizing the BCCI? And 61% of NDA voters and 57% of opposition voters say that they want the center to pressurize the BCCI. Then is there space for the Supreme Court? Even on this, basically what people of India are saying is kuch bhi karo, is match ko roko. Chahe wo Supreme Court se aaye, chahe wo center se aaye, kahin se bhi aaye, ICC se khud aaye, BCCI se khud aaye, we don't care what it takes, stop this match. So 61.4% of NDA voters and 66% of opposition voters want the Supreme Court to step in. Your big point, Yashwant, and then I'll open it up for Tehseen and Sandeep.
Yeah, I mean, do whatever, but stop. Don't pay. In fact, somewhat ironically and funnily, my researchers even told us that while asking this question, many respondents also said कि इसमें सेंटर को क्या करना है, एक बाप को अपने बेटे को ही तो बोलना है. I mean, it was as direct an intervention that people were expecting that Home Minister should just call up his son, the ICC chief, and tell him that this is not going to work, this is not done, and you need to do whatever, but find a way out. I mean, of course, there are technicalities involved, but this is how the people look at it, Barkha. People look at it that, okay, you have the government, you got your person on the key positions at the ICC, at the BCCI. There is no way you can tell us you cannot do this. So better do it.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. They've seen that in a commonsensical way, and there are those like Priyanka Chaturvedi and others who've actually said so in Parliament that Amit Shah ko boliye intercom khol ke baat kare ICC ke chair se. And Yashwant is saying that even the poll findings, there may be this technicality that BCCI doesn't come under the Ministry of Sports, but nobody believes that the centre can't step in to let its opinion be known, or if the center isn't doing it, let the Supreme Court step in, let somebody step in. As Yashwant says, jo bhi karo, but ye match mat karo. But despite being cognizant of this outrage, we saw a statement being released yesterday calling this a blockbuster event. Seen. And you're, as I said, a very cheerful fellow normally, and you started speaking about going on a dharna if this happens.
Thank you, Barkha, for having me on the show. Let me start step by step. Step number one, we were told in Parliament by the Honorable Defence Minister in his opening remark, then by the Most Honorable Home Minister, and then by the Prime Minister that Operation Sindoor is paused. We believed our Prime Minister. I am on the opposition, but I believed him. I stood by him during Operation Sindoor. If Operation Sindoor is paused, why the hell are we playing cricket with Pakistan?
Yeah.
That's the first part. So I believe my Prime Minister. He said Operation Sindoor is paused. If it's paused, why are we playing cricket with Pakistan? Let's come to the second part. There's a legitimate question that people are asking in Yashwant's poll, those who are for the match with Pakistan. And one of the questions they raised, even to me, is how many matches can you boycott Pakistan, or how do you boycott Pakistan in multinational tournaments? And that's the right question to ask. And I am practical to say you can't do it in the Olympics. I'm even going one step forward to say you can't do it in all ICC tournaments. But let's come down to this Asia Cricket Cup, done by the Asian Cricket Council. This tournament is primarily done so that the other Asian cricket councils, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, can earn revenue. And India is the main source of it. So Yashwant's poll very rightly reflects the sentiment of the people that Operation Sindoor is paused and India is now earning Pakistan money. Now let me give you the emotional pitch. Shahid Afridi, and I'm sorry for the strong language, that absolute gutter person who will be present there, removed rallies after Pahalgam. Not one Pakistani condemned Asim Muni's hate speech. And you want me to give my cricket board that is earning revenue from Indians just because technically it doesn't come under the Indian government, but every single Indian political leader's son or daughter, irrespective of political parties, let me not make this partisan, is on that cricket board across states in India today will earn Pakistan money at my expense. And if I want to watch a Pakistani movie, you will tell me, listen, dude, you are anti-national. If a woman want to act in a Pakistani serial, will say, listen, you are anti-national, but the rich kids of these politicians on the BCCI are earning Pakistan money and doing monkey baat and charcha with Shahid Afridi and the others at the cricket stadium. My blood boils. Let me refresh. Pakistani army trained militants entered Pahalgam. They opened pants of Indian men, made them recite the kalma and shot them in the head. And we have been told Operation Sindoor is paused. Why the hell is my country giving them revenue? And it's not whether this is under the government or not. Forget the fact that these rich kids are on that board. It is my money that is going to Pakistan. If I can't watch Pakistan serials, which I agree, if I shouldn't watch Pakistan movies, which I agree, why the hell are you playing cricket with Pakistan and giving my money to Pakistan? This is my money. It is my money that is going to Pakistan. And one more thing. If cricket is okay, then why are movies not okay? Why are dramas not okay? Why is everything not okay? So where do you draw this line? And Yashwant is right. I am not saying, again, practically, you can't do this in hockey. You can't do this in Olympics. We agree. But in the Asian Cricket Council, where we are earning money for them, can we not forfeit 2 or 3 points, whatever it is, against Pakistan? Why the need to play Pakistan? I don't get it.
Yeah, and I feel your clearly your blood boils, and we feel what you feel. And when you mentioned Shahid Afridi, actually my skin started crawling because I started thinking, of all those crazy comments, horrible comments that he made, and as you mentioned, those those sort of public rallying around basically extremists and terrorism that has come from people like him. And you're now asking the question, as you called him, a gutter person, not language that you typically use. Why should Indians be involved in contributing to the coffers of a man like Shahid Afridi? And I think it's an excellent question. Sandeep, the mystery is this. Everybody feels the same. I actually don't know. I have not met anybody who feels differently. The biggest cricket fan, people are celebrating today India's great win over England. Everybody loves their cricket. Everybody loves their team. But why? What is happening? Like, how do we understand this? It's like a kind of tone deafness. Is this about money? Is this about something else? If it's about multilateral tournaments, Yashwant's poll shows people are saying forfeit the match, yeah. Give it to them. But we won't play them.
So just to lighten the mood a bit after Tehseen's very passionate plea, one reason could be, I'm being a little facetious, that Trump may have asked the game to go on for trade reasons, So his intervention, he might just claim afterwards, that I made Pakistan, India play cricket.
That's so funny.
That's the one explanation one can think of. But, when you talk of Jaswant's findings about Operation Sindoor sentiments and this sentiment, though it's very natural people are equating, one could say that in Operation Sindoor, government may have had reasons, not necessarily compulsions, but in their own judgment to pause the operation. But this is something was purely under the government's control. As you said, they may not have an official line with BCCI, but we know how our friend Mr. Shukla, who's formally, he only needs a little nudge. And I'm not even talking about the father and son thing. It's a private affair. It could do that without any formal coming in. But what worries me, Barkha, I think here I see a very casual approach to the signaling of Operation Sindoor and the communication of it. We have had this whole entire question that post-Operation Sindoor, what has been the messaging from the government? Even I think, I don't know whether Yashwant has done a poll. I was seeing one of his friends who did a poll on the parliament debate. And this is very similar to what we had discussed. While people say that, okay, in scoring points, brownie parliamentary political points, BJP may have been won up on Congress, etc. But everybody seemed to think that actually Operation Sindoor and its reasons were not discussed. You took it to other matters. And so at the end of the day, the questions on Operation Sindoor have remained unanswered. You've sort of, in some way, diverted it to somewhere else. So first of all, I think the government is being, for whatever reason, it is being very, very opaque and nebulous in their whole response to Operation Sindoor. And all these things add up. One hand, the Prime Minister has his rhetoric of Khoon and Pani, and etc. And then also in Parliament, whatever he says, he talks about his speech in Bihar. And then this does not gel. And that is where, and when you talk again of this, about in your anecdotal thing, all of us have seen nobody supports this whole issue. Yashwant Poll is trying to show that. It also reflects, to my mind, Barkha, that the government has become somewhat immune or insulated to public opinion. They think that, we can do what we think right for whatever reason. And all these things will blow over. Some people are talking about this game, but after the game is over, 2 weeks down the line or 2 months down the line, nobody will remember. This will not be held against us, because everything is judged, I think, today by the yardstick of election results. And if you're wondering that, whether this is going to affect the Bihar polls or not, you're not too worried about it. If you think that doesn't impact on Bihar polls or doesn't impact on...
And what's important is that you say this not as a critic of the government, but as somebody who has often supported the Prime Minister, and you're wondering why the messaging is so off, why it's opaque, why the government is not picking up the larger import here. We often say when Rahul Gandhi backed Trump's comment on India being a dead economy, we said he can't read the room. Right? When the Congress obsessed about jets going down, ek ya nan ya panch, we said the Congress can't read the room. And I stand by those comments. But if this match happens, I will say that the BJP can't read the room. Because I think, you agree, Sandeep?
It's a tone deaf kind of a thing that I don't know, and that seems to be deliberately, they seem to have turned that off. And that is very, very disturbing to me. As you said, as whether you say a BJP supporter or a Prime Minister, I'm not a BJP supporter, as you say, I'm a Prime Minister supporter, I find here totally a callousness in terms of, as you said, they're not hearing the people, or even if they hear, they just simply don't care. They have their own larger, maybe calculation. They're more worried about who should be the next vice president, or what should be the Bihar elections. And this is, I don't think this augurs well. And this shows or reflects a degree of arrogance, if I may say so, on part of the government, which has crept in. And finally, whereas individual MPs have made comments, but Congress and all are also too bothered about SIR and all of that. They have also not really made a strong statement. What prevents Rahul Gandhi? He makes a statement on so many things: economy, justice system, EC, to also make a point on this.
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting question, and I want to take that to Tehseen, because the only two politicians who I think have, and if I were to describe you as a politician, then you, but two MPs I would say who have made a effective issue on this are Asaduddin Owaisi and Priyanka Chaturvedi, because they have literally used their parliamentary space to just hammer this home. I think Sandeep raises an interesting question. We're having this conversation on a day when the Supreme Court has wrapped Rahul Gandhi and said no true Indian would talk about their army like this. This is in the context of China and Galwan. But, look at these numbers from the Sea Voter poll. They actually tell you that this is one of those rare moments there is near political unanimity. If anything, the BJP's or the NDA's own voters are angrier with them about this. They feel more passionately about this than even the opposition voters. It's a perfect context for Rahul Gandhi to make this an issue, and the dharna you're talking about, he should be leading. Ki ye match hoga to main to yahan se uthunga nahi.
See, in my we are going to do a two-step. I'll come to this, but we're going to do a two-step dharna. One, we're going to do it outside Parliament, and just on my tweet, I didn't even expect it. Started trending yesterday, and two of the relatives of those who have been martyred in Pahalgam called me up and said they're coming. So let the Delhi police, by all means, beat us up. We don't care. But look, here's the question that is important. The reason no political party is taking it up, and I don't want to make this about any one individual, so don't hold this on individuals, but is because all rich politicians' kids are in the BCCI. You look at it across party lines. All rich kids, all big politicians, their relatives are in BCCI. It's not the one father son that you all talk about. It's all of them. And see some of the cringe videos on Instagram. You have a royalty or so-called ex-royalty, currently a minister in the BJP government, his son in a local league. Indians, young Indians like you and me are coming and touching that kid's feet. I mean, and he's in BC, or he's in the state cricket board, and obviously he'll go to BCCI. That's the problem. All of them are. So in one way, the nepotism of politics has also come in cricket board, whether you see it at a local level, state level, or BCCI at the union. So they will not do it because they all benefit from it. And why do they benefit? Now, why is this tournament happening? Just allow me 30 seconds to explain to your viewers. To win an ICC, you require a certain amount of votes. So one is the Asian vote. How do you get the Asian vote? You'll make money for them. I'm not saying it's corrupt. I'm saying that's the way politics works. So at the India level, how does the same group get elected? Because the States Association vote.
That's your tweet up on. That's your tweet up on screen.
Yes.
If you want to refer to it. Yeah.
Yes, that's my tweet, and that's the letter, and that's where I explained why we should not equate Olympics and this, and it just started trending. But look, the State Association, if somebody has to come in the center, in the BCCI, they need the state associations to vote for them. So state associations, and they're in the center. Now they are all political parties opposite, but they'll all come hand in glove. Similarly, the ICC, if you want to dominate the ICC, you need all the state you need all the countries to vote for you, so you make money for them. But Yashwant is right. India is dominating out here. India can easily pull the plug. I simply don't get this. I expect nothing from politicians or political parties. I simply am speaking as somebody who supported my government irrespective of political party. We are still in a war with Pakistan. If we are in a war with Pakistan, why are we playing cricket with them? I don't get it. In a tournament where it doesn't matter to us and where the only benefit of the tournament is Pakistan's going to make money. I can't understand. None of this is beyond facts. These are the facts of the tournament. So why are we playing cricket with them? If it was an ICC World Cup, even then I understand that, look, we lose a World Cup. I even understand that. I'm ready to push the boundary.
You have mobilized opinion on this, and you have said Pahalgam survivors have reached out to you, the families, and I'm going to play out
Two families.
I will play out a small clip from a young bride. She had only been married 2 months when her husband was killed. Shubham Dwivedi's wife, Aishanya. I want to just play that clip out, because you know what she said. She said, "If this match if you play this, you are playing with our emotions." This is what she said. Just take a look at this.
Including them to Asian World Cup, I don't get this also. Why did they include Pakistan in Asian World Cup? And then BCCI comes up and accept the match with India-Pakistan. Why? Why? I don't get this. These are the questions all the families have. It's just been 3 months and they are playing with our emotions if they are agreeing to this.
Yeah. If you play this match, yeah, she just says it clearly. If you play this match, it's a khilwad with our emotion. Seedhi baat hai.
You know why it's a khilwad? You know it's a khilwad when you put my tweet up, that letter of that Asian Cricket Council, Asia Cricket Council.
Yeah.
That, I'm sorry, I'm just very emotional. That pathetic human being from Pakistan writes, blockbuster tournament. He's rubbing salt in our wounds, and then he writes, with a chance of another match again. What are we? Are we some sort of piece of trash that you come in our country, kill our people on the basis of religion, and then you put this out to rub on our face when you make money on our account? Let's assume some Indian, I'm not bringing religion in, some Indian were to say this about Pakistan. What would the same ecosystem of the BJP and the BJP tell that Indian, irrespective of religion, that you're a Pakistani? What are our problems with Mani Shankar Iyer? How is this then accepted? This man is throwing this on our face, saying it's a blockbuster match. We put it like this, and you have one more chance of an India-Pakistan match. That's what the letter essentially says. So what are we? We're some piece of trash that we come and give you money, and you come and kill us? Isn't that the argument India is making at the international forum? That don't give Pakistan money, they use it for terrorism against us? Then why is Tehseen, Yashwant and Sandeep being forced to give money to Pakistan? Is BCCI being funded from their papa's houses? Whichever political party? This is our money that BCCI runs on.
So I hear you, and I agree with every word you said. By the way, you know, there is a time to say, okay, people can have personal contact. This is not about Tehseen may have one friend who lives in Lahore. This is the country of Pakistan playing the country of India. It's an institutional decision in the middle of a war that is not yet over. Simple. It has not even been, 10 days since the 3 terrorists who were linked to Pahalgam were killed in Operation Mahadev. And I find it just absolutely unacceptable that this match is going to take place if it does. Yashwant, I want to take you back to the numbers. There are very few things on which there is political unanimity in this country, and the armed forces are one such institution. If you look at the fact that an overwhelming number of Indians across political affiliations in the Sea Voter survey say this is an insult to our armed forces, right? The armed forces who never take political positions, each one of them, each general who can speak today is saying this match must not happen, putting up an India flag, saying Jai Hind. Should they have to do this? It is terrible.
And you know what, Barkha, let me I don't do it, but let me trivialize this issue. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm a political analyst. This doesn't look like a good politics to me, honestly speaking. Forget about nation first, forget about patriotism, forget about armed forces, everything. And you know, it just rubs, as Tehseen said, it just rubs it in. It doesn't look like good politics. It's not in right politics. I mean, when your own supporters are angrier than your opposition supporters, you need to pause and look at it and think something is not going right, you know?
Yeah.
And what is not going right is basically the change of doctrines that you have done in the last few decades, and particularly in the last 10 years. When you shift from a doctrine of Aman Ki Asha, where either, as Sandeep said, that, you know, what's wrong with the music and movies and cultural exchange and journalism and everything, either we stick on that line, that, okay, we consider deep state of Pakistan different from people of Pakistan. So come what may, our connection with Pakistani people to people on different things will continue, and army to army engagement will continue. So Either that's a doctrine, but that doctrine is what you encashed on, campaigning against that doctrine. You change the narrative of this country. You take this country along with the saying that now the doctrine is Operation Sindoor is continuing, right?
Yeah.
Now the doctrine is that the blood and the water cannot flow together. Now the doctrine is that, any direct incident in India will be seen as an action by the Pakistani army. So if you have changed that narrative of this country as well, then this is a self-defeating one, because you are going to the
and I will say that even in the old doctrine, that clearly Operation Sindoor is a departure from. Imagine playing cricket in the middle of Kargil. I mean, I'm just saying.
Of course,
imagine in the middle of Kargil war, there's one India-Pakistan cricket match.
Imagine what would have been the BJP's reaction then.
Yes.
Imagine what. And you mentioned two people's name, one Priyanka Chaturvedi of Shiv Sena and Owaisi of AIM. Imagine the two extreme spectrum, Shiv Sena and AIM. If they are sensing it and getting it right. By the way, I mean, these days, I am getting absolutely fond of the way the politics of Asaduddin Owaisi. I do not think that any other opposition leader has, gained that much of traction, made the right noise, said the right things, as he has said, and he makes sense. And why exactly, that the reason that Tahseen has said that everybody's own personal life, their kids, their family members are involved in the BCCI and everywhere, it's a severe conflict of interest. And that conflict of interest is getting overtly exposed in front of the common man of India. Common person, the common Indian is understanding. If the politicians think that the common India is not understanding it, forget about it. They are understanding. And Barkha, this is going to create problems for all sort of people, from the lower rank Booth Panna Pramukh right up to the Prime Minister, to explain it to Indian why we are playing with Pakistan. So I think, from the political prism also, it's not making sense, not making any sense to me. Yes, I understand tomorrow a hardcore BJP supporter, no matter what, might not swing to the Congress. I understand that. But BJP is forgetting one very critical aspect of politics of these things. When the critical BJP supporter is really upset with their own people, they do not swing, but they sit at home. And that is majority of the elections where BJP gets the boot are the elections where their supporters decide to sit at home. So it may or may not impact immediate Bihar or other assembly election, but it affects the gradual erosion of the confidence, the gradual erosion of the brand that you have built over the years, which you said that it is uncompromising, come what may, it will not compromise. Yeah. Unfortunately, these are the things, these are the small things, I would say, in that way, in a longer run, which affect your credibility when you are talking about important issues and important steps taken at the right time.
So let me bring in Sandeep on this. Sandeep, you said that the government these days seems to measure everything by whether it will have an electoral impact or not. It will be one news cycle, two news cycle, three sets of headlines, it'll pass. I think what Yashwant is saying is that there is a political cost too. It may not be immediately visible. It may not see BJP voters switching sides. A committed BJP voter will remain a BJP voter. But we have seen discontent expressed in other ways. And the discontent of a BJP voter is expressed with disinterest or diminished interest, right? And that is a cost.
No, it might be more than that. Yashwant is absolutely right. It's like the feather on the weighing scale or the straw on the proverbial straw on the camel's back. When the tilt will happen, you don't know. And I see in this, as I said, it's now become really chronic in the BJP. It's become a habit that there are a lot of things being ignored, and this is just one more. It's a reverse of the salami effect. Okay, one more feather thing doesn't matter, but at some point in time it will, because I think today, whether you call it anti-incumbency or not, I think more than that, what the BJP is facing is this whole issue of many things which were promised. They have really that they haven't seen delivery. I on various fronts, and I'm not talking about a 15 lakh or anything of that kind, whether it is in political retributions they've talked of, or on the economic front and various other things. And this just adds to that continuum. And only thing which is BJP is still, because they have a terrible opposition. If there was rather than fighting on this SIR and other things, if Rahul Gandhi or Congress made this an issue, this would have resonated all over India. But they are really, and had it not been such a terrible opposition they have, who pick on some strange issues, BJP would have been in deep trouble on this and many other things. That's the problem. And, I think, and that last thing before I yield, Mike, is you were talking about Supreme Court. I don't think that's a feasible solution. Supreme Court taking so much of cognizance on a matter like this. But maybe Tehseen may be very brave in holding a dharna or a agitation, but only I think the recourse is not just you on Mojo's story. The media must get on to it rather than doing those meaningless debates in the evening, or talking the Tutu Meme or discussing whether Rasgulla comes from Odisha or from Bengal. I think these are far more important issues for the media to take.
Just to the Supreme Court, again, I've got Yashwant's numbers on the screen. I agree with you that technically it's not quite healthy that the Supreme Court should be telling the cricket board how to run its matches. But I think Yashwant asked this question to show the depth. Basically, what people are saying is either the BCCI stops it, or the Supreme Court stops it, or the center stops it. Somebody stop it. I think that's really the bottom line. Tehseen, last word to you. What are you planning next? Because you've got emotionally involved in this, and I agree with Sandeep. Like this should be something we should have done much more coverage on. Go ahead, Sandeep. I beg your pardon, Tehseen. Last word to you.
So before that, we don't want media coverage, because media, particularly legacy media, will be completely under pressure from the cricket associations. Let's be clear on that. That's where their revenue comes from. Nothing personal against them. That's the model they function on. There are very few brave journalists like you, Barkha, who stand up for the right cause, and we don't need legacy media. I think without legacy media, that's the room that Yashwant's numbers are pointing to, what the direction of the wind is. But let me just say one thing. We are going to protest outside Parliament while Parliament is on. That's one. If they still don't take cognizance, we'll have to sit quietly outside the Honorable Prime Minister's residence peacefully and let the Delhi police hit the victims, the relatives of the Pahalgam victims. That's fine if that's what the Delhi police believes in. And the Delhi police, I'm sure, will realize that these are fellow Indian citizens who have been victim of terror. So if Delhi police will want to enforce 144 or whatever the equivalent section is now in the new BNS, they are most willing to. They're most willing to hit us. We are okay with all of that. We will be peaceful. We will not create a ruckus. We can't do that outside the PM's house. We don't want that. But we'll sit on a hunger fast. We'll have to do that. We may not change the world. But when the history of India will be written, we will be that sparrow that got little water in its beak to put out the fire in the forest. Because we cannot go down. Barkha, I have relatives in Karachi. My dad's side relatives in Karachi. Every time my Instagram posts would go up or my reels would go up, which would get a lot of views, they would comment below it saying that India's aggression. I have given up my relatives in Pakistan because this is my nation. Okay. And the same for everybody. And a lot of people have friends there. So it is about individual. We've given up a lot, believing our prime minister, who we are in opposition to, that this is unacceptable. You can't make a monkey out of us. It is not done. We believed you. We believe it is paused. People, and it is brutal. People were killed when their pants were opened. This is the height of inhumanity Pakistan displayed. And Shahid, Afridi and his ilk were laughing and removing posters. Hina Rabbani in the show with you was acting like a jackass. I'm sorry for this language. You were on that show. She had not one word of remorse that innocent people were killed. How can we give them our money?
Yeah, and thank you for reminding me of that. She basically defended the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed and then ran away from the show when I confronted her on that on Piers Morgan. And I'm with you every step of the way on this. I really find it inexplicable, bizarre that this conversation is even taking place about some blockbuster event when this is, anything but the time. You find another context, you declare the war over, you declare Operation Sindoor over, you say some dialogue has begun again, and as part of that dialogue, if we ever get to that point. I'm not advocating it. I think we have all of those dialogue attempts have hit a dead end. But suppose the government were to declare it, at least there's some consistency in that policy, whether you agree with it or not. Here, it makes absolutely zero sense. We leave it there. Thank you, Yashwant, for your numbers, Sandeep, for your fairness, and Tehseen for your emotion. I think all of you have been very honest to your own opinions and positions and hearts. And I know that the families of the Pahalgam victims, in particular, and millions of Indians will thank all three of you for that. Thank you. Take care. See you soon. Namaskar. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Voters Story and support independent, robust journalism.